Morning, good afternoon, and a good day to our dear guest and audience. You're welcome once again to AFRAA SkyConnect, where we discuss topical issues of interest to the aviation community and bringing you value in the work we do in this industry. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today we're bringing you a very exciting discussion, technical in nature, but very indispensable in the aviation industry. Without this service, it is nearly impossible to run an airline. And I'm talking about the maintenance, repair, and overhaul operations in African airlines. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all are aware and we all know and believe, safety is the #1 priority in the airline industry and indeed in the aviation industry. And the maintenance, repair, and overhaul plays a critical role in ensuring that we operate safely, efficiently, and profitably. This dear guest, in our today's discussion, I'm hosting two very familiar faces in the aviation industry. The first being Mr. Daniel Demeke, who is the Managing Director of Ethiopian MRO. Joining him will be Mr. Gaoussou KONATE, who is the Consulting Director, Technical and Operations at AFRAA. Both seasoned engineers and experienced aviators will help us to unpack the issues around MRO overhaul. In our discussion today, we will focus on trying to get a better understanding and appreciation of the MRO availability and capacity on the African continent. Then we would also try to see how these facilities are supporting the industry in Africa. We will then look at collaboration among these facilities themselves and between the facilities and other facilities operating outside of the continent. And before we just take off, we would look at the impact of technology in our sector, and in particular, the impact of technology on aviation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome to today's discussion Mr. Daniel Demeke and Gaoussou KONATE. Gentlemen, you're most welcome to the discussion today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kunichi. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So if I may start with Daniel, before we actually get into the substance, some of our guests probably might not be very familiar who you are and what you do at ETMRO. So if you can just briefly talk to us about yourself and your role at ETMRO, that will put us in context. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kunichi. Thank you, everyone who just participating in this platform, a virtual dialogue. My name is Daniel Demeke. I'm the Managing Director of Ethiopian MRO Services. My background is from aircraft maintenance. I graduated from Part 147 approved Ethiopian Aviation University in airframe power plant and avionics, and I'm rated on most of the fleets that Ethiopian Airlines operated today, S350, 777, 78, the older aircrafts, de Havilland Canada -6, 757, 737 NGs, classics. And the other part of my educational readiness is on, I'm a holder of Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, and I acquired the Masters of Business Administration in Aviation from Brunel University of London. Currently, I'm working as a managing director of Ethiopian MRO services, but I used to be a post holder for aircraft heavy maintenance, base maintenance director. In short, this will be my profile.
Thank you very much for that brief introduction. So Mr. KONATE, I'm sure you don't need any introduction, but I might have a guest or two or who is listening to us who probably would want to know a bit more about you too. Please.
Thank you very much, Raphael. My name is Gaoussou KONATE. I am also a graduate engineer from Institut National des Sciences Appliquées de Lyon in France. A bit common with Daniel some time back. Working in AFRAA, I also got a type rating of engineering and maintenance on 747-200, not the modern one as you have now, Daniel. So then I did not have a modern one because I moved to AFRAA as technical director in the 90s. Then in the 2000, I moved to IATA, where I serve IATA as director, regional director, safety operation and infrastructure. And eventually in 2012, I joined the regional office of ICAO as deputy regional director of ICAO CAF office for the first time, serving now the regulator. And then eventually when I retired in 2016, I went back to my, I will say, earlier love, the industry. So back to AFRAA as, again, consulting director, technical and operation. In a nutshell, Raphael, this is all about me.
Wow, good. Thank you very much. So you have retired, but you are not tired. I'm happy to hear that. And so AFRAA is tapping into your expertise. So let's get our discussion started. First and foremost, maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Now, on the African continent, how many of these facilities do we have? And where are they located? Daniel, would you know?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity again. In Africa, there are a lot of MROs, but you can categorize as the major MROs and an MRO who perform a minor repair and overhaul. So if you consider the major MROs in Africa, we can mention somewhere that I know. Ethiopian MRO services is one of it. I think there is a Morocco Aeronautical Industries, which is positioned in the Casablanca, in the Egypt, in Cairo, of course, in the Kenya Engineering and Maintenance, which is located in Nairobi. South African SAAT, a well-known MRO, which is located in Johannesburg, Tunisia, and as well Algeria, and some others. So there are other MROs located around Africa, but most of them are not as such good in world-class MRO, which is built to serve their own airline. So there are quite few major MROs in Africa, but there are a lot of MROs who perform a minor repair and overhaul. Among them, my MROs, Ethiopian MRO services, which has got a very huge facility. It has got a lot of hangars, 8 hangars, the CMT facilities, and world-class state-of-the-art warehouses, engine maintenance facilities. So there are a lot of MROs, but in general, the major one is quite few.
Okay, so thank you for that response. Now, what you mentioned seems to be like all of these MROs are embedded in airlines. Do we have some that are not aligned to airlines at all?
Most of the MROs in Africa are aligned with the airlines. Most of them are just, in fact, financed and run and owned by the airlines embedded with them. If you take, for instance, Ethiopian MRO, it is fully owned and administrated by Ethiopian Airlines, in fact, but it is not locked and closed only for the service which is meant for Ethiopian Airlines fleet or operation. There are also other opportunities which is unfold for other airline, most of them which are operated in Africa, but there are also other airlines who come from Middle East and sometimes from Europe to have a service from Ethiopian MRO services, to have it a slot share together with the Ethiopian Airlines. But as I mentioned as an example, Ethiopian MRO services, most of the MROs located in Africa are really embedded with their airlines.
Okay, that's very interesting. If I can go to KONATE, how many would you know? And if you know, can you share with us approximately what percentage of African Airlines aircraft are actually serviced by these MROs in Africa?
Okay, thank you, Rafael. First, the fact the airline owns the MRO in Africa is, I will say, natural. The reason is the aviation required the airline to be responsible of the continuous airworthiness of the aeroplane. Now, it's only when the World Trade Organization came with a requirement to liberalize services, including aviation. So it was Uruguay round where the agreement for general trade and services came in, and then the aviation said, well, we provide air services, but the traffic right is a hard right. So this one will not be public or legalized, if I can say so, widely. However, the part which was accepted to be liberalized, the maintenance services is part of that. So that's why you start seeing a private entity, non-airline, setting up maintenance and repair at warehouses and that. But it came from there. So it need a lot of money to invest in it to create that independent. But the idea of having them came from there. And in our case, yes, it's mainly remaining with the airline. But as we can see how it is run, Daniel is the managing director of the MRO services of Ethiopia. So it is in that spirit so that they can provide service to others. Now, in terms of percentage, yes, up to now, I will say there is a big proportion of the market of maintenance going outside the continent. It is a big business because in 2025, you are talking of a market of 1.6 billions of dollars. But it is not remaining with our MRO. Most of them which get it outside the continent are either European or even Middle East. Back to you.
Thank you for that. So in other words, so we have a significant revenue outflow instead of coming to African MROs, actually going to non-African MROs. But what I wanted to find out is has the African MROs, do they service all the types of aircrafts that are operated on the continent, or some airlines have to take them out because the MROs on the continent don't support those services? KONATE?
Yes, they don't cover all the aeroplane type. However, they cover, I will say, the aeroplane type which are popular in our operations. So the 737, the MROs, all these one are quite popular in Africa, and A320. And our member, the MRO we have, the top one indicated by Daniel, are capable of doing that. They provide that service. They don't cover all the aircraft type, but the most popular one they do, and yet part of the business go outside the continent.
Okay, so Daniel, if I may come back to you, so specifically, what scope of aircraft or what scope of services does ET MRO provides?
Thank you, Rafael. Ethiopian MRO has got a capability on airframe maintenance, not only airframe maintenance, but on the component maintenance side, as well the engines. On the airframe, the A1 rating side, Ethiopian MRO has got a capability to maintain for the 737, the NG, the Maxes, and the 757, the 767, the 787 with GNX engine power, then Rolls-Royce engine power, and A350 as well. If you go to the component side, as I said before, we are just now inaugurated the world-class in-house capability for components to repair for us as well for the third-party maintenance. And if I say that the CMT, the component maintenance facility, has now the capability to maintain close to 1,200 components, if you consider it by the parent number. By the parent number, what I mean is, for instance, if I can say the part number XY, there could be a possibility having that part number to be XY-1, -2, -3. So if you consider by all those details, it could be more than 10,000 of it. But by the parent part number is going to be 1,200 plus more than 300 of it is by EASA, by the European Quality Manual. But the other, the 1,200 and more, is by the FAA, of course, as well by Ethiopian Civil Aviation. With that, the component maintenance is not limited to the capability only on repairing some components, but also we have an agreement with some OEMs, like we can mention as an example, like the Doughty. So we have a full capability to maintain the Q400 propeller as well the hubs. So when there is an opportunity of, original equipment manufacturers are there just to manufacture the new products. But the MROs, they have to assist them on overhauling and maintaining of those components already produced by them. Unless they are just joined with such a kind of a big MRO, then they cannot accommodate all the parts removed from the aircraft. So we do a capability to do the Doughty Q400 blade and hub. As well, we have a very big engine maintenance facility that we are capable on doing the GenX engine, which powers 787-8 and -9, and CFM56. Of course, the CFM56 we have the full overall capability by the EASA as well by the FAA, and the LEAP engine, which powers the 737 MAX, and Pratt & Whitney 150 engine. That Q400 is utilizing in powering it. It is fleet. So we have also another capability on APUs for the APU for 757, the APU for NG Maxes, and the APU for A320. In fact, we are not operating A320 in our fleet with Ethiopian Airlines, of course, but we developed the capability just to support other carriers in Africa or over the region to overhaul their APUs when they have the requirement to be overhauled.
Oh, so your capacity actually goes beyond what an ET operates. You provide support to other aircraft that might not necessarily be in ET's fleet. You still support that?
Yeah, that is true. Some of the capabilities are not only limited to the fleet type or for the purpose of Ethiopian operation only. So we are just developing some capabilities in discussion or in collaboration with the OMS so that we can be a focal for the regions that any airline operating in that region can offload the workload to us, and we support the African aviation as well. We support the regional carriers. Plus, we contribute a lot of revenues to Ethiopian MRO services account.
Okay, thank you. KONATE, you mentioned a significant share of MRO is procured from outside the continent. Does the MROs on the continent actually have enough idle capacity to take on what the demands are on the continent?
Okay, let me put it this way. Definitely we have capacity to take back, I will say, a good share. Actually, we trust this, and this is why at AFRAA we have decided to organize an MRO event annually. The idea is that we do have world-class MRO who provide service, and yet our airlines, some of them take their business outside the continent. So by having this annual event, we will be able to bring those who are buying MRO services to attend these events and be able to see at the base of these top class MRO the facilities and negotiate with them how they can bring their business to these African MROs. I think it makes sense to go that way. I will give you an anecdote of a case I remember in the 90s. Already, ET engine maintenance capability were covering the JT8. And then, I will not mention the name of the airline, but it's somewhere in the West Coast. The engine will go to Aero Lingus, to mention at least one name there, for maintenance, for overhaul. And that engine, actually, to be able to do it at the best cost, Aero Lingus will subcontract that engine overhaul in Addis to ET, and ET will do the job in the MRO there, ship back the engine to Aero Lingus because they did not receive directly from the end user, and then this engine go back to the West Coast. Now you can imagine the cost of travel of just bringing this aeroplane to Addis through Europe and then back. So this is a type of thing which will completely disappear if those who are buying their services accept to come to our annual event, negotiate with our MRO service providers, and get a deal, if I can say so. Thank you.
Okay, so KONATE, you're giving us an indication of what the likely benefits are for servicing your aircrafts on the continent instead of taking them outside. But if I can go to Daniel, are we competitive enough? Because it's, yes, the cost of moving the aircraft elsewhere and bringing it back and the time and all that might be a factor. But how competitive are African MROs compared to other models?
Yeah, the African MRO, as I said, it could be on the larger scale or a smaller scale. But regarding the safety and quality competitiveness, so we can say that it is competitive with the other part of the world MROs. There is no any kind of differences. In fact, sometimes there are some capabilities which is acquired with us, but you cannot find it to the region of Asia. So even, for instance, if I can say as an example, Ethiopian Airlines as a kind of sub business unit, we are manufacturing the wire kit harness for the Boeing users. So we have a certificate for that, a certificate of, if I can recall it, it is AS9100, which is a certificate that we acquired as a certificate of conformity just to produce this wire kit harness. And we produce this one for the OEM, for original equipment manufacturer Boeing. So we send it there. So the aircraft, the new aircraft, which is rolled out from the line fit, will fit with this wire kit harness produced in Africa with Ethiopian MRO services quality. So I can say that sometimes it could be exceeding, but in any ways it will not be lower than the other part of the world's MROs regarding the safety and the quality. But the thing is, okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing is, this kind of facility are not abundant across Africa, so that the slots are very minimal. So in effect, some airlines may have not got a slot to repair their fleets, and they will be forced to send their aircraft somewhere in Europe or sometimes in America while expending much amount of fortune from their pocket.
Now, my follow-up question was is, can you just give us a compelling reason why airlines or aircraft operators should use MROs that are based in Africa? Why?
Okay, this is a very good question. I mean, the first thing first, it is a nearby thing, so they will just minimize the downtime of their aircraft. The turnaround time will be minimized because they are just flying to the neighbors, and they will not have a longer time of flying time to send their aircrafts for instance, for an A check. An A check could be like up from 14 hours to 24 hours in average. So if one operator is just try to send his aircraft from East Africa all the way to Middle East or Europe, then the flight time will be as such big enough just to take one third the portion of the ground time for this light check. So the downtime will be minimized. And the other competitive advantage for those airlines who, if they prefer to collaborate and use the African MROs, the advantage will be they may share the parts and the inventories as much as it is available across that MRO. And mostly because these airlines are operating across the region, there could be some kind of AOG happening. It could be some unscheduled things like a bird strike or unfortunate kind of collision. So those kind of AOGs could be quickly recovered if these airlines are collaborated with an MR which is located to their neighbors. So that will minimize that downtime. The other thing is the regulatory bodies, they have their own quality manuals to let you to develop your capability. So if these MROs across Africa, if they can collaborate, and if these airlines are coming to the major MRO, then that major MRO will assist that airline's minor repair station to develop its own capability so that it will be sustained to repair its own requirement, plus it will extend and unfold some opportunity for other nearby regional operators. So this could be some competitive advantage if the regional airline can utilize the African MROs.
Okay, thanks for that. Gaoussou, earlier Daniel mentioned that the MRO, the major MROs he listed, I did interject that they were allied to airlines. Now, what I know is that African airlines fear competition. So taking their equipment to MROs that are owned by airlines, to what extent can they be assured of neutrality and fairness in the servicing of their equipment?
Okay. Well, in that area, the competition is on commercial side. But when it comes to safety or maintenance, you have a clear description for each level of maintenance. So when you are taking your aeroplane for check C to a maintenance to a MRO service provider, you have a clear content of a job to be covered. And you will be able to follow clearly that all what has been prescribed as requirement are met. So you will have evidence to see that. So, and of course, it is not in the MRO interest to be trying to play game there, and it can impair safety to a competitor. So I will say maintenance area and the link to the continuous airworthiness to a safety area are such that you can be sure that if you are dealing with an MRO, being an MRO owned by your competitor in commercial ground, there is absolutely no issue there. It's just possible.
Thank you. So that's very good, very reassuring. I mean, I'm happy to hear that, because it is important for us to know that there is a delimitation between the safety aspects of dealing with issues and the commercial interests of airlines. And I also think it's partly the reason why some of these MROs are actually subsidiaries of the airline rather than mainstream departments of the airline. I think that gives some very good reassurance on this front. But Daniel, you actually did indicate Ethiopians' production of a component that is used on a Boeing aircraft. Very commendable. But to what extent do MROs work with the OEMs? What is the working relationship like?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rafael. The relationship with the OMS, with Ethiopian MRO services is very, very right and well established strategic partnership. By what I mean this is, as I said before, the interest in the main target and purpose of the original equipment manufacturers are just to produce, not to overhaul it. But at the beginning, because they have to keep their products alive, they have to keep those parts rolled out from their facility to be overhauled by their own. But in effect, the more they produce, and they cannot accommodate all those thousands of engines, then they have to look for the MROs so that they can come, they can train to you, they provide the tools, they will assist you to be approved by the regulatory bodies where those products are maintained. Then they will give you the opportunity to maintain sometimes your own fleet, your own area of scope, and sometimes when the thing is matured enough and which is becoming too much for their own consumption, they definitely will let you to offload it to help them as well. So it's a kind of win-win situation. as long as the MRO is ready enough, has got the facility and the tool and the human capability with proper regulatory body compliance, then the OEMs, they are very much willing to give the opportunity for the MROs to let their products to overhaul on those MROs. I didn't mean that all OEMs will let you to participate on the overhaul of each and every component, but in majority, most of them would like to participate with MROs. And we have so much experiences with a lot of OEMs. I can mention the G. The G will give us the capability for the new fleet, the 787 Gen X engine to us, and we have the capability up to performance restoration shop visit of 2. That will be the maximum per recipe to capability. So we do that in the CFM 56 as well from the CFM partnership. As I said before, with the Doughty and with a lot of OEMs, we have the capability to do it. So they are very much keen to support the MROs.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, remember you can participate in the discussions by posting your questions or comments using the Q&A tab or the chat box. So please let your questions or comments come in and we will review them at some point during this discussion. But let me come to Gaoussou on collaboration and capacity building among MROs. Do MROs in Africa really work together? Do they have a support system for each other? And what is AFRA's position on this?
Thank you, Raphael. I will go to what is AFRA position, but rather, of course, this is very key for us to have them to cooperate. And if they cooperate, definitely the fleet capability increases because we are not always doing the maintenance of the same type of aircraft. And then that give them also the opportunity to market, if I can say so, broadly together the airline operating various type of aeroplane in Africa. That's one. The other way also, now you heard Daniel indicated, but for GNX, they have an offer from the OME. So they can be the specialized MRO for this type of engine. So in that case, we can be like, if they talk together to say, look, GE provide this to us, so let us be the one who is specialized on this type of engine. And then on the other way, Egypt Air or you are doing also maintenance services on overall of other type of engine. And it happened that both airlines who own these two MRO have the same type of aircraft or use the same type of engine. They can, by specializing and sharing already among themselves, create economy of scale, and then again attracting the other airline operating this type of engines in their facilities. So what we want to see is more cooperation of that nature among the MROs.
Yeah, but what is holding back that cooperation? What is the problem?
What is holding back such cooperation? So
yes.
At this stage, I will say maybe we need to promote it more, and hence the idea of our annual conference, which will already make them work together. And then, of course, so that they can see themselves what they will be gaining by cooperating, beating, if I can say so, what they are not gaining by competing. So
good. Thank you. So Daniel, on the same point, and you are an MRO, what is holding ET MRO back from cooperating with other major MROs on the continent, considering the advantages that KONATE just alluded to?
Yeah, we mentioned a lot of advantages. I think nobody will argue on it. But the thing is, as you said, as Mr. KONATE tried to explain, there sometimes, because African MROs are not cooperating to each other, there are a kind of redundant investment on simple things, but there will be some escape on the other thing. For example, if MROA in East Africa, if has got a capability on one of the engine type, then if MROB has got the same kind of capability on same kind of engine, that will be a kind of redundant investment. But we may miss a capability of engine type P in both of them. So we can avoid the redundancy of capital investment. When we talk about the investment of MRO capability development, we are just talking about tens and hundreds millions of dollars. It's not as such a simple thing. So we cannot waste our resources on African MRO while doing the same thing, while we are just sitting side by side. I mean, we have to, and we must, I can say that we must have to try to collaborate across MRO, across Africa on MROs, so that we have to have a kind of alliance. Or you see, if you consider like an airline, those airlines have got an alliance or a one world or something, so that they can share their code shares, they can share their tickets or whatever resources they may try to fold one route for a couple of weeks, so that the other alliance member can take care of their passengers. But I don't see such a kind of collaboration or alliances are established across the MROs, especially in Africa. So the importance is very much immense, but we have to have a kind of alliance just to cooperate and just to check and balance the need across the MROs. And for that, I believe the role of AFRAA is not as such simple. So we have to have a kind of much, we can consider the AFRAA like an alliance thing, but we need to let this association and this cooperation to be deep rooted, so that all has to work together hand in hand for the better of the MRO services across the regional operators.
Okay, thank you for that. Let me go to our Q&A and let's go through a couple of questions that have come in. So far, all from my very good friend and brother, Dr. Elijah Chingosho. I knew he wouldn't miss this show. So the first thing he wanted to know, which is very critical, is ETMRO as a unit, as a business unit, is it profitable? It's a simple yes or no. Is it profitable?
It's a straightforward. It is profitable.
Okay,
great. It is profitable. Yes.
Great. The second question he has is this: Ethiopia is planning a new mega airport.
Yes.
Now, considering the amount of investment that ET has put into the MRO facility at Bole, are there plans to relocate MRO to the new airport or to keep them at Bole?
Good question, Rafael. Look, the MRO facility that we have it like 5-10 years here in Addis Ababa Bole International Airport was not as such as big as what we have now, right now. We just keep on increasing the MRO facilities. Why? Because whether we like it or not, the MRO requirement will have a linear relationship to the growth of the airline. The more you have the fleets, the more you need to develop the MRO facilities, unless otherwise you want to offload it somewhere to some repair stations. So what I mean is the Ethiopian Airlines the number of aircrafts, if you consider it like in 2030, in 2035, is keep on increasing. So the MRO facility will not stay or will not stack as what we have now here. In the new airport in Bishoftu area, it has got a very big area, and the number of aircraft, the number of passengers also increasing there. So in effect, we are just going to increase the aircraft as an airline. So for that, we need to have some facilities over there as well. We are just planning to build some MROs over there. So this MRO will not be the last MRO to build in Ethiopian MRO services. But as you said, we invest a lot of it. This airport will not be shut down in total, but it will keep on operating the regional fleets. So maybe if you consider like Lufthansa Technik, some of the flights are from Hamburg, some of them are from Frankfurt. But for the heavy checks, they will send their aircraft back to the other stations, because heavy checks, you are not requiring the aircraft for the next day. So you will send it, you just disembark your passengers on the main hub, then you let your aircraft to fly to the main repair station. So Ethiopian Airlines, if you just disembarking one of his 777X by then, not now, then he will just let the passenger to be disembarked then he can let it to fly just 5-10 minutes to Ethiopian Bole International Airport. Imagine today some airlines, they are now sending their aircraft for a check all the way to 6 hours, 7 hours flight to the Middle East carrier. But the Bole International Airport and the Bishoftu International Airport, it's not a party more than 5 minutes flight. So it can serve both of it. Yeah.
So the other question that Dr. Chingosho has for you is whether your MRO have an engine test bed for Rolls-Royce Trent engine on the A350, and if so, is it cost effective?
Two things you have to consider. We don't have to, when you talk about engine maintenance, engine overhaul, especially nowadays, you cannot compare the repair cost in terms of the money that we spend for buying the LLPs and the piece parts, the 100% replacement parts. You cannot have it the slot. For instance, if you want to send some of your engines somewhere, let's say in somewhere in Miami for the GenX engine repair, you will not have it the slot to induct it to their shop the next day. You may let them to wait you like 3 months or 4 months before the first get their own inspection over there. But if you have your own facility, then you can align your yearly forecast of the operation against to the repair requirement of the cycles and the hours you are going to subject on the engines. So with that, first thing first, you will be cost efficient on availing the slots without so much fear and anxious kind of things. And the second thing, you let your people to train on your training facility, in our case, in our aviation university. So definitely, it will be very much cost effective to have it your own world-class in-house repair facility.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Now, KONATE, Elijah has this question for you. AFRAA and others have campaigned vigorously for MRO collaboration in Africa for a long time. Given that this campaign has met with limited success.
Yeah, thank you again.
Has AFRAA abandoned this quest? I think you touched on it a bit earlier.
Okay. Thank you, Rafael, and thank you to Elijah for the question. Of course, we will not abandon pushing for collaboration, and we know it is definitely cost effective. Did we get any success? I will give you an example. between Jumbo Jet and the MRO of Ethiopian. That, to me, is a success. Here is Jumbo Jet, a subsidiary of Kenya Airways, operating Q400. And then we got a clear, described framework of cooperation, and you get some staff who came to assist the airline, the Jumbo Jet in that case, for some time, and develop capability to be able to take over. So the cooperation went well, and it eventually ended by having the capabilities in Nairobi. And today, so that the guys initially who came to assist them back to the MRO. So we will not stop pushing because we can see it is very important, and the possibility is development also of human.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for that. Now, we have just about 10 minutes left to go, but I cannot let you go without asking these questions. So if you can be very brief in your responses, it will help me. Brain drain is a major challenge in the African aviation sector, and especially when it comes to technical competence. We tend to lose a lot of our very skilled resources. How is ETMRO able to maintain these resources, or you are losing them also? Thank you.
Rafael, in today's world, whether it is in the Middle East, in Africa, or in Europe, or in North America, wherever, brain drain is something that you cannot avoid it. All right, so there will be a kind of shift of the skilled manpower between any repair stations, any MROs, or if you consider it even also, this is a reality for airlines. The thing is how we need to maintain this kind of brain drain in different strategies, in different techniques. So one of the things that the people will shift themselves from place to place is, we can say like it is for the competitive compensation in benefit. You can say that is a reality, but not always it is related 100% with compensation in benefits. You can let it to mitigate with other side of the strategy while keeping the compensation in the benefits there. So one thing, the main thing is, as I said, whether you like it or not, people will leave you, people will come to you. So, but you have to depend on your own development, on your capability. When you say you have to develop your capability, not only on the tools, on the materials, on very fancy building and facilities, but the major thing is also the human capital. So for that, you have to have a career development and the training. You have to invest a lot on it. Plus, on top of that, you have to let the technicians, the engineers who join you to your facility, to be nurtured on the positive culture. For that, you have to work hard on the mentorship, on the coaching principles and platforms. So for that, Ethiopian Airlines has got a very big aviation university. Used to be an academy, now it's turned to aviation university. It has got an approval by so many regulatory bodies, by EASA as well as and the local Ethiopian Civil Aviation. So that university will let you to produce more younger people who can cope up with the brain drain somehow. So the juniors have to learn with the positive cultures with them, and the knowledge sharing and the mentorship program has to be robust. And such a kind of techniques we are using on top of the compensation and the benefit things. So some people, they may leave you not because someone is just paying this lump sum of money, or some are not. It depends on the technology, it depends on the work area, the work culture. So though the turnover is a reality everywhere, but Ethiopian MRO services are working hard on utilizing these strategies to fill up the gaps that I mentioned earlier.
Okay, great. Now, KONATE, just help me. Would you say that we have enough MROs in Africa? Or assuming that African airlines resolve to service their aircraft on the continent, do we have enough capacity to take on this? Because there is this concern or request by some of the regional economic communities. I know ECOWAS is making a demand. They want to establish an MRO in West Africa because there's no major one in the region. And I also know that the African Development Bank and the Afrexim Bank are both researching into possibility of helping to establish additional MROs on the continent. So my question is, do we have enough capacity or do we need more? Thank you.
Well, I think we have room for really increasing, I will say, the capacity, because I know, for example, on smaller aeroplane, we do have even MROs at Wilson Airport who work on small size of aeroplane, and the same in South Africa. But if you, responding to your question, I will say we need probably to increase if we are ensured that we will have also a clear policy of the operators using these facilities, because based on the proportion of aeroplane going outside, we definitely don't have enough capacity. So to me, we need to look at it and look and talk to these investors, to the bankers, if I can say so, the two you mentioned, to invest in new one and also to invest on existing one, so that, but at the same time, we as an association, we work with the policymakers to ensure that we help, as I say, with the conference and other means, to make our MROs attractive to our own markets.
Okay, great. So Daniel, if you can briefly on this one, I know MROs are capital intensive businesses. How do you fund your operation as an MRO?
As I said, the Ethiopian MRO services is fully owned and run by the Ethiopian Airlines. So all the development, all the capability enhancement, and all the things will be done, much of it support that we are having from the Ethiopian Airlines. There are a lot kind of things that we can have it the money from, as a traditional thing is from the bank loan that is going to be a fixed interest, and you can scatter it when are you going to finish it. But the bank loan is not as such a simple thing to acquire it, because those banks are always looking for some kind of long requirements. But we don't have a kind of single strategy just to maintain our financial need to expand our MROs. We have a lot of strategies. Sometimes we collaborate with original equipment manufacturers, with the OEMs that we call it, just to have it a support, so that we can assist our service and we can assist their customers, so that they can offload their burdens to us, just to assist them. And the other part,
have you reached out to the financial institutions such as the African Development Bank and the Afrexim Bank for support?
I don't have the exact figure in how that is going to directly impact it on our capability right now, but definitely it will help us on our expansions that we are just going to implement there in Bishoftu International Airport. Then we are going to have it a couple of hangars over there. some kind of back office, back support shops. So we need to involve such a kind of good opportunities, because the African Development Bank is just meant there just to support all the financial requirements across Africa. So as the name implies, it's a development bank. So the contribution or the support that we are having or we are going to have will support a lot for us as well. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I think there's a question from Dixon. Dixon wants to know how digitized are the processes in African MROs? Do African MROs purchase MRO software from within the continent or outside? In digitalization, it's one of my questions, but I couldn't come back to it. But if you can, Daniel, you respond to this. How digitized is ETMRO?
ETMRO is working a lot. If you mention the digitalization environment of the repair station, we used to work a kind of platform saying that a Maxi Merlin with a command interrogation for our system, but now we reached to some level of digitalization. In fact, we just turned all our almost, I can say that 99% of our work process is digital, it's paperless. So all the documents are run now in a paperless environment. The maintenance is done with a paperless environment. And we are working hard to implement the database science involvement while involving the AI technology. I don't know if I'm right, and on one of my Masters of Business Administration lesson on my career back in school, I learned that the scheduled maintenance, the forecast maintenance is originated from Formula One vehicle. Formula One vehicle has got millions and hundreds of thousands of sensors on it. If you see it, the car will not let it to stop like 1 minute or 2 minutes, but everybody will run. That will be supported by the AI technology, by the digitalization technology. So we need to, whether we like it or not, aviation has to involve the digital environment. So we are working a lot on the database science plus the okay, you carry on, please.
Okay, thank you for that. And now, Gaoussou, Elijah and Izodine wants to know, when you talked about an MRO event, when is this going to take place and where?
Okay, where is easy for me then, and then I will pass the when to my colleague there, because the where is Addis Ababa. So we are very happy that for the first edition, we will be hosted by in Addis Ababa. Then this is why I'm like making sure we are both answering to a question. So Daniel.
Okay, Daniel, do you have a date for us, or is still under discussion?
No, it's confirmed now. I am part of the task force. It's going to. You are asking me about the AFRAA event, right?
Yes, the AFRAA MRO event.
Yeah. It is happening in 2016 in Addis Ababa. It will happen in the first quarter of the 2026. So I will invite all of them over here to participate in this very interesting event that will happen on Addis Ababa next year.
Great. Another event by AFRAA. Thank you so much. Now, before I let you go, we've overshot our time by nearly 4 minutes. But before I let you go, I would want to know from you, what is your takeaway message to African operators who are either servicing their equipment here with African MROs or who are not? Starting with Daniel, what is your takeaway message?
Thank you very much, Rafael. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all participator team over here. Now, as we draw this important session to a close, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the key insights and opportunities that have emerged from our discussion on the state and future of MRO in Africa. It's clear African aviation industry is growing, though it is slowly, but it's growing steadily. And with that growth comes pressing needs for robust, self-sustaining maintenance, repair. I can see overall ecosystem that can support regional fleets, reduce dependence on foreign facilities, that is a fact, and increase operational efficiencies. One message stood out clearly. African can no longer afford to outsource its aviation health. We need to build our own capability. That's what Ethiopian Airlines is doing in every day in, day out, and year in, year out. So not just facilities and toolings, as I said before, but in human capability as well, in partnership, in regulatory frameworks, and in innovation, why not? So in closing, I would like to challenge all stakeholders here today. Let us not let this momentum fade. Whether you present are here in government, industry, or training institution, wherever your role is, or as an airline, let this beginning of coordination to convert to action. Thank you. Thank you all for your contribution, your insight, your vision. Let's continue working together, because the future of Africa MRO is not a question of if, but how fast and how well we can make it happen. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's only us who can make it happen for us. KONATE, your final take. Thank you.
Thank you, Raphael. Look, I told you in the beginning, this business is 1.6 billion, the African MRO market, and it is increasing at 4.8% compound rate. So, but in 5 years' time, you are talking of a market size which is more than 2 billion. So, my last is to say we have world-class MRO around the continent, and we have to make sure that we use these facilities to meet our safety requirement of maintaining the fleets around across the continent. So really the last is make use of these world-class facilities, and we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we bring down the curtains to our discussion. Allow me to say we have a lot of comments coming in from Michael Mesha, from Wellington Nushua, from Wilfred Dimitri, from Steve Doodle, and Similis Bekele. Thank you all. Unfortunately, these are very positive comments that have come in, but unfortunately, time will not allow us to go through them at this point. But I appreciate your support and your contribution. To all our guests who have asked questions, we appreciate your questions and your active participation. And to my two guests, Daniel and Gaoussou, thank you very much for taking time off your busy schedule to join us today on AFRAA SkyConnect. Until we meet again, first week in November for another exciting edition, this time hosting the CEO of TAC Angola Airlines and host of AFRAA, the Annual General Assembly. It is from me to you. Bye-bye, and let's meet again in a month's time. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.